streaming is changing politics. Is that a good thing? But I will be covering this one now as we move on to less depressing stories. I'm not going to do the Jubilee tonight. I'll do it tomorrow. This is a fun story. This apparently
Israel's war is one of the most significant geopolitical events of the 21st century. So why is this guy one of the internet's leading commentators on the issue?
Oh, that's an argument for incest I never considered.
For those of you who missed it, Destiny, who is a streamer, debated political scientist and Israel-Palestine scholar Norman Finkelstein. And in doing so, he presented himself as an expert on...
Those kids were literally coming out of a previously identified operated problem. They literally did. You can Google it. You can Google it.
With all due respect, you're such a fantastic moron. It's terrifying.
You know, later he went on and talked about how he absolutely dominated that debate.
If the other side doesn't bring up a single coherent point from the entire conversation, which they didn't, and they're like being unhinged the entire time, I feel like hopefully it plays better to me. I definitely could have gone harder though, given how unhinged Norm was.
And then the most important...
Mr. Portobello, you are such a fantastical moron. It's still funny. Oh, Jesus Christ. That was so great, dude. The gall, dude. Thinking that you could go up against the dude who wrote the goddamn books because you tried to quickly summarize a couple Wikipedia articles that correspond to your argument. The arrogance, dude. That arrogance and that blind confidence is exactly how he motivates some of the most like ill-equipped people online. Some of the most like awful individuals online into believing that he has ideas worth a damn.
Election of our lifetime. Why is Donald Trump doing a live stream with Aiden Ross? And for that matter, why is one of the most incisive voices on the left not a host at MSNBC or CNN, but a Twitch streamer? Ew! You know, Hasan Piker's critiques of liberal policies from within his streaming suite at the DNC apparently got him kicked out.
I doubt that, you know, NBC would be getting kicked out randomly.
Which is cool. I'll be honest, guys. In general, it's cool to get kicked out of places. It's a cool badge of honor, unless you get kicked out for like a not good reason. Live streamers have become important enough in the political space that they can seemingly change minds, influence elections, and maybe even threaten major political parties. So how did folks like this go from streaming Grand Theft Auto 5 all day to reshaping our political discourse? And are they making a meaningful difference, or just enabling a sort of digital cosplay that lets us feel like we're activists when we're just sort of fueling Jeff Bezos' empire? Jeff Bezos, worst bald man alive. Change my mind in the comments if you think there's a worse bald guy. To understand political streaming, we got to start by contextualizing the seemingly unpolitical world of video game streaming. Because before these guys were interviewing world leaders, most of them were just streaming games from their bedrooms. And they all started over on Twitch, which is an Amazon-owned platform catering to gamers and their fans. And since Twitch took off, you know, some streamers have...
It almost sounds like he did nothing but play games and all of a sudden we're politics, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't really care. It's not exactly correct, but who cares?
Moved over to competitors like Kick, and pathetic, gross, lame boomers continue to stream here on YouTube. I'm Michael Burns. I'm here with producer Henry. Now, one distinguishing aspect of streaming relative to other types of media is its shocking sense of immediacy. Now, streamers are playing and reacting in real time, and simultaneously their viewers are commenting and maybe even critiquing them in the chat.
Go to your Twitch dashboard and check out the new charity function. It makes easier for your chat to donate to charity and doesn't cost you anything. Okay, I'm not doing that right now because we're in the middle of something right now. I don't know if you can tell, but what I'll do, thank you for letting me know, but all right.
It's a format that leads to heightened reactions and lots of hot takes.
This might be the most transphobic thing that I've ever said in my life. So here we go. I don't think I really believe in non-binary.
And unlike traditional media, YouTube videos or podcasts, when users react to or, you know, yell at streamers, well, streamers can yell back.
It's like, how the f do you arrive at that position while playing one of the most like pro-trans video games too? Like what is wrong with this man, dude? His mind is just constantly churning out as much hatred as he possibly can come up with. Like, how the
back, which offers a thrill and attention that's only available in such an immediate format. I mean, imagine if you could yell at Rachel Maddow and she could yell back and call you a dirty little incel. I bet you'd like that, wouldn't you? But this sense of immediacy isn't just fun or kind of thrilling. It actually has the potential to shift how we relate to each other on a societal level. Scholar Yochai Benkler argues that social media democratizes communication by providing direct and unmediated access to information and discourse. As he sees it, digital networks allow for a genuine reorganization of the public sphere by weakening the power of commercial mass media and its owners and providing an avenue for diverse and politically mobilized communication that's less corruptible by money than traditional mass media. Now, in fairness, that was written in 2006, before a world where a bunch of cool, countercultural, free-thinking streamers like Tim Pool got paid hundreds of thousands of dollars by Russians to say stuff on their streams. Not very cool and countercultural, is it, Timothy? But I would say that if any of the Russians are watching this, seriously, you know what I'm saying? Let's get involved. Let's do it. Let's do the thing. I would do it for so much less, like a disgusting amount less. I saw how much you paid Tim Pool. 1/1000th of that, and I'll be here praising Putin. I'll get a Putin neck tattoo. Oh, I'll get a Putin lower back tattoo that says "Tootin' for Putin." That will maybe jiggle when I fart. But shadowy sponsors aside, for Benkler, the decentralization and democratization of information flow makes the public sphere more inclusive and participatory, providing a platform for non-market, peer-produced sources of filtration and accreditation. And this really helps alleviate information overload while also serving as a counterbalance to the concentrated power of traditional media. You can think about it this way, like the best things you've probably watched on the internet are because your friends were sharing them over and over, or a Reddit community you're a part of told you to watch it, right? It's not because some, traditional media source was like, please watch the new Connor O'Malley video. It's called Corey's, and it's a weird exploration of the way our identity split under late
That video is a banger, by the way. God damn, Connor O'Malley's so good.
capitalism and the way that social media exacerbates those tensions, right? It was just your friend was like, check out the new O'Malley video. It's fucking crazy. Now, this all empowers viewers to contribute to public debate and hold those in power accountable. And in the context of political streaming, viewers are able to form communities with other audience members that can exist in the chat, on Discord servers, and social media, or hey, even real life. And please let us know if you ever met a stream friend in real life. Also, if you met a stream friend in real life and you're currently, handcuffed to a radiator in their basement, but you can kind of reach the keyboard, I guess type help and we'll try to find you. But it's not just immediacy and community that make political streaming so unique. Christopher J. Hopwood suggests that the ability of platforms like Twitch to enable the sharing of unfiltered thoughts and experiences in real time helps facilitate the expression of realness. This is
something I think about quite a bit. Which is like the democratization of media has led to people like myself existing in this space, but it also has very obvious downsides to it as well. I guess like if misinformation is going to occur, it's better if it's democratized, but also it does kind of feel as though with less and less confidence in mainstream media, there are definitely instances where like misinfo presented by grifters can cause push for societal collapse, like especially when paired up with a lack of education, lack of critical thinking, lack of media literacy. So it's something that I think about quite a bit, because if the media is not, if there is no independent media, if there is no democratization of the dissemination of information, you don't get to have a different point of view on Israel, right? If you look at CNN, if you look at New York Times and you get all your news from there, you are going to have a very different point of view on what is occurring and why it's happening, right? So someone like myself will never be able to exist in that space. There will never be the gratuitous nature of like corporate overlords that say, you know what, we want this kind of information to be out there as well. That's not going to happen, right? They're always going to limit that to the neat little confines of whatever neoliberal hegemony allows you to say. Now, there is no extent to the right wing. There's no limitation to like how far right you can go, unless you are also, you can be, but you can't be, right? You can be and get a prominent role in a media institution. You can't be and also at the same time, however. And on the other hand, there's a lot of people like there's a lot of people due to the fact that legacy papers have kind of dropped the ball time and time again in a very public fashion, where mainstream media is like, whenever mainstream media is needed, like during COVID, right? When there needs to be like an organized way to disseminate information from an institute of authority, like during COVID, when there is a serious pandemic occurring, right? Because there are less and less people trusting mainstream resources, a lot of people can take advantage of that lack of trust and, grift, make up, especially in times of commotion. It's a weird predicament that I find myself both benefiting from, but also thinking is maybe sometimes consequential in a negative way. Like, COVID probably caused a lot more people to distrust mainstream institutions, which is ironic because they didn't really up that badly during COVID. Like, they were doing best practices on the issue of COVID and their coverage over COVID and trying to stop misinformation from spreading during COVID. But also, you look at Israel and the way that they're dealing with American foreign policy. They always cover American foreign policy in the exact way that you expect them to cover, which is a crumb of truthfulness in an effort to maintain the veneer of impartiality so that you can be a legitimate institution that is trusted, okay, while simultaneously packing it to the gills with a tremendous amount of misinformation, lying by omission, genuinely using passive voice whenever you describe Israel's atrocities, things of that nature. All of Israel's enemies are terrorists that deserve it. That kind of stuff also, in my opinion, that kind of framing, in my opinion, also caused a lot of people, especially in the younger generations, to mistrust mainstream media, mainstream institutions. And I think we need to rebuild trust in mainstream institutions because I believe that there still should be real journalism happening. Mainstream media spreads plenty of disinformation on its own, but I feel as though mainstream media has pushback from independent media. Independent media gets less pushback from other independent media because its reach is simply smaller. Rebuild trust in U.S. mainstream institutions, lol. Yes, there should be. In a perfect world, independent institutions would exist, but you would also have like legitimate national institutions that are trustworthy resources for objective, or at least as close to objective news as you can get. But the unfortunate reality is that America, due to the interest of capital accumulators, is never going to do that, I think. While we're at it, rebuild trust in government. I agree with that too. I literally agree with that as well. Yes.
The idea that, streamers seem to have an authenticity that we don't normally see in popular media figures. Hopwood and his co-authors argue that realness may be a particularly important individual difference variable within certain domains. Being real may be both harmful and beneficial for politicians, but for citizens, it is a key characteristic of trust. It's basically like when streamers seem like a cool person to hang out with, like how I'm a cool person to hang out with, I trust him more intuitively than I would some good-looking guy on TV with a slick haircut and a nice suit and he always says the right thing, Screw that guy. Now, some of this is simply a function of streamers broadcasting for huge amounts of time. Seriously, if you're not familiar with...
I mean, it's virtually impossible for me to be fake. No one is that good at presenting a fake version of themselves for 8 to 10 hours every single day.
This sort of thing. Piker will stream for 12 hours a day. Destiny might stream for 7 hours a day. People like Vosh might go 5-6 hours a day. And when you're streaming for, most of your waking life, you're going to have to talk about more than just politics and theory.
Graveler is a rock with 4 arms and pass. I'm not putting my anywhere near gravel.
Now, it seems like the relatability and realness is paying off. Piker alone has over 2,500,000 followers and 140 million views, with an average of 157,000 active viewers. I know for a fact that's over twice the population of Duluth, Minnesota. So at any point he's streaming, there are 2 Duluths watching him. Now, during the 2020 elections, his was the
Duluth Dyson times 2 when you think about that. When you think about that, that means there's not one but 2 Larry Sinclairs sucking 2 different Obamas after doing crack sideways, sucking their off
the 6th most watched election coverage stream. The average is similar audience size to CBS and Fox News. And this seems to indicate that at least amongst a younger demographic, folks prefer more interactive and authentic content. And this has not escaped the attention of mainstream media.
You get more people watching you of an evening than I do.
But all of this doesn't answer the question of why we, you, me, all our friends, are so engrossed by political streaming, and why millions of folks spend just hours and hours of their lives enmeshed in these digital worlds. Now, it might have less to do with how it changes our opinions and more to do with how it actually changes our experience of time. Yes, friends, that's a real thing I'm about to argue, so don't tune out now. Before we keep going, I want...
Not gonna lie, bro, I'm gonna start hating harder. You've been getting way too many glaze pieces lately. Dude, let me have a moment to breathe, okay? Don't worry. If you think I need to be hated on, trust me, anytime there's a new glaze piece, all of my insane haters get like MK Ultra style activated to be like, I'll have you know, he's actually a bad guy. Please don't say he's a good guy. He's a bad guy. I promise you he's a bad guy. They go crazy over it. Trust, okay? I also get on by my long-term subs anyway. They lose their goddamn
minds. I wanted to
minds.
give a shout out to our friends over at Yes Please Coffee. They're special because this is a company that I actually reached out to because I liked their coffee so much. I asked if they wanted to work with us, and thank God they did. They're based right here in Los Angeles. They're an independent company. Their beans are awesome. I've been drinking Yes Please for a few months now, and it's some of the best coffee I've ever had. My good friend, producer Olivia, said it changed her relationship to coffee. A lot of people from our stream community have tried it and loved it. Go to their website and then use the code Wisecrack for 20% off. There's a link down in the description as well. Truly top-notch beans. It's a great way to support the channel and help support a really cool independent company. So check out Yes Please Coffee because, I think you deserve it. Now let's get back to the show. It's clear that authenticity is critical to the success of political streaming, but of course it's not just about being cool and relatable, because some of these guys aren't cool or relatable. They're kind of weird and unrelatable. It's that the very structure of the medium creates moments of truthfulness in both the streamer and their audience that are almost impossible to achieve.
This guy started talking to, said you were obnoxious and a bad person, but when I asked him to cite a reason for his opinion, he couldn't give one. Yeah, because he saw like 3 Twitter power farmers. Yeah, they're eating your ass up on Twitter right now, Lamafeao. Dog, this is from September 15th, 2021, and it has 2.9K likes. And it's literally a barb, dude. What the f are you talking about? What are we doing right now? We're just like relitigating old drama that I was objectively correct on. Your article is full of weirdos. No, it's not. Not really familiar with Hasan. He seems pretty cool though. We'll check him out in the future. Why are you guys doing this? We're straight up watching like a puff piece, and you guys immediately like are sending me a million different hater takes. That's crazy.
And other forms of digital media. Now we can better understand this via the work of French philosopher Henri Bergson and his concept of pure duration. Now, for Bergson, duration is a way of thinking about time, or a type of time which operates in distinction from clock time. It's not mathematical or mechanical. Like I have a little watch right now, and the second thing it's going 50, 51, 52, 53, right? Sequential, linear, mathematical, things of that nature. But duration is more to do with our experience of time. Imagine what it feels like to wait for 45 minutes in the waiting room of your dentist. Feels like an eternity. Now imagine what it feels like to spend 45 minutes catching up with your best friend that you haven't seen in a while. Probably flies by, and before you know it, they're on their way and you wish that you could hang out for longer. Same amount of, linear time, but we experience it way differently. And we see this at play in the unique temporal experience of watching a live stream. Now, unlike watching a cable news show, which is broken up into distinct segments and commercial breaks equaling precisely 1 hour, streams can often go on for hours without any segment breaks or time constraints.
Unless there's a 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour, of course, because at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break.
To be clear, some streamers do have sponsors or take little breaks to talk about that, but it's not quite the same as,
which of course, Lamau, this video is going to make me stop watching streaming entirely. Yeah, why are chat? What is the reason for why chatters immediately try to grief me when there's any kind of like positive movement? What is that about? Like, and I know chatters aren't doing that because they like hate me or anything, but it is a very weird attitude that a lot of chat has where they're like, it's weird. It's a weird tendency that y'all have. What is that? They're like, damn, man, people are saying nice things about you. Dude, well, watch this guy lie about you. You know what I mean? Hey, look at this random tweet that like implies you like raping or something. Like, okay, well, that person is schizophrenic. What do you want me to do about it? And yes, I have a lot of haters due to all of the positions that I advocate for, which unfortunately are not all that common, even though it is born out of common sense and empathy, which again, seemingly less common by the moment. So yeah, there's plenty of these people who are delusional and insane. Don't know why you have to give them more air and I don't know, make it seem like it's a valid point of critique.
Cutting away to, I don't know, some commercial about mesothelioma.
How will this affect my loved ones?
But all of this creates a sense of flow that affects both the streamer and the audience. And in doing so, it can collapse the way that we think about and experience time. Now think about it this way, okay? You're pretty unlikely to get home from work and just say, now I'm gonna sit in front of a screen for 5 hours, watching a guy talk about politics, play some games, hey, maybe do some research. Instead, you probably just tune into your favorite streamer, and then before you know it, you're caught up in the discussion, you're jumping in the chat, you're participating in an active way, and then 5 hours have passed, and holy crap, you have to be up for work soon. Now for Bergson, this disillusion of clock time creates the space for pure duration, where we're purely in the moment, fully experiencing our own internal lives. Now, Bergson unfortunately died way before you could watch H Bomber Guy stream Donkey Kong 64 for 57 hours straight, but he'd maybe consider it in terms of music.
Donkey Kong is my favorite.
Now, music does follow a specific temporal structure, right? It conforms to a certain clock time. Maybe a song is in 4/4 at 110 beats per minute. But when you're caught up in a song that you love, your experience is one of pure duration. You're not thinking about measures and time signatures. You're just fully in it. This is why deadheads can vibe out to a song for like 45 minutes and then want more as soon as it ends. Because when that music never stops, you sort of feel free from everything else. This feeling of temporal freedom is the exception to the rule of our normal lives, which, let's be honest, are mostly governed by clock time, and more specifically, work time or work clock time. Now, as Bergson writes, we spend the majority of our lives outside ourselves, hardly perceiving anything of ourselves but our own ghost. He goes on to write that we live for the external world rather than for ourselves. We speak rather than we think. We are acted rather than act ourselves. This means that our identities and our internal states of consciousness are shaped by rigid clock time. It's like, maybe I'm this person when I'm at home.
Yep.
When I'm this person,
Does not extend so far as to her putting a man's life at stake.
and I'm this person with my old-timey street gang.
Everybody dress up sweet and sharp.
We can sing vicious 4-part harmonies and then just cut you into pieces. But considered from a perspective of duration, I'm all of these things at once. And my identity and consciousness are constantly unfolding. And streamers are able to tap into this, creating an experience of duration in which different elements of their consciousness or perspective emerge over time. Think about the stream marathons of someone like Ludwig, where dramatic variations in his behavior can create a palpable sense of authenticity. Sometimes even a streamer's mistakes or lapses in judgment or random asides, make them feel most real to us.
Hawk Tua on that phobia.
Take this time that Hasan Piker, seemingly forgetting that he was streaming, got a little bit distracted.
That was my inside voice that came out. I was just off myself.
But the sort of realness that emerges via duration doesn't just lead to personal details or accidental bro behavior. It also creates a particular experience for us, the audience. One in which I am actively listening and engaging and experiencing myself thinking in real time. When this is happening, it can feel like my identity is unfolding in dialogue with both the streamer I'm watching and the community that I'm engaging with. This can all create the conditions for the political streamer to truly guide the audience when dealing with tricky or contentious issues and policies. And when they do this, they might help the audience see past rhetorical traps and empty platitudes, ideally creating the feeling that you're learning alongside your favorite streamer. And the authenticity of the medium, mixed with the freedom of duration, can then lower our guards. And that makes us maybe more likely to reconsider our opinions or remain open to ideas we don't immediately agree with. That might sound like I'm being too gracious, but I've seen this a little bit on our tiny little YouTube streams where people in the chat kind of open their minds, debate with each other, change their minds on stuff. It's a very beautiful thing to see. Other times.
Look, yep, he has a psychiatry degree. None of what he's saying holds on fact. YouTube guy thinks he's a psychiatrist now. The only thing I will say is that there is obviously a lot of back and forth in the community building, and it can be used for good or it can be used for evil. Okay. If you are using the community that you've cultivated over the course of many, many years to like harm others, to go after others that you feel have wronged you, and slowly but surely cutting out like anyone that is a naysayer, then you are operating a cult in the most toxic ways possible. If you're using that to defend, you're just an objectively bad person, right? This is precisely the reason why I try to put my best foot forward all the time. Okay. Like I know the amount of, I don't want to say power, but the amount of influence I have, and I try to use that for good. I try to use that to motivate you to go out and work out, motivate you to go out and better yourselves, motivate you to go out and do things and become a positive influence in your community. Like I recognize the influence that I hold and the place I have in your lives, and I try to use that to max out on all the good that I want you to do.
Sometimes they just say, this channel fell off. Why is he here? Now, we can see some of this in Piker's analysis of a debate between Ben Shapiro and Malcolm Nance, in which, the audience gets all the benefits of having a political commentator who can translate, add context, and fact check in real time. This enhances the audience's understanding and equips them to critically engage for themselves.
Okay, it's actually pretty simple.
And it's not just that political streamers are able to offer us more honest and authentic analysis than traditional news media. They also have a pretty dialectical relationship with their audiences, participating in an open back and forth that can shift the conversation or lead to digressions and insights that a streamer maybe wouldn't arrive at on their own. The duration of these streams and the communities they engender really do open up new types of interaction between host and audience. One where, unlike most experiences of our media consumption, you feel like
relational aggression as a result of you creating a tightly bonded community can cause a lot of chatters to feel as though their parasocial bond is threatened when your image of being a hated for saying the truth is threatened by showing you may not have as many haters. It causes a sort of dissonance where your chatters support you, but feel your changing image can threaten who you are. TLDR, they're toxic. Yeah, I mean, I think it's in the simplest, not nerdy words, just gatekeeping. A lot of people forget that, like, I have an overarching ideological goal with my commentary, with my Twitch stream, and that goal is to get broad acceptance for the ideas that I hold, the ideas that many of you also now believe as well, or maybe believed even long before me. And that is precisely the reason why I always want to expand. I always want to grow this community. Okay? Every single thing that I do is in the direction of growing this community so that there are more like-minded people that will be more charitable to my worldview, because I think that my worldview would genuinely improve people's material conditions. So a lot of people fail to remember that and sometimes maybe think, oh, I want to gatekeep this stuff. I don't like it. Like, you're getting looks by NBC. You got prominently displayed on CNN. That's not a good thing. That's a bad thing. It's only a bad thing. Wait, what? So your voice does matter, but you won't endorse Kamala? Wow, that's so funny. If Kamala wants my endorsement, she can have it. She just needs to say the magic words, okay? No more weapons to Israel. Also, none of this right-wing immigration stuff. But, those are things you, aside from the Kamala quip here, I think a lot of people don't understand. That like there is a goal beyond just like me. That's why I do these collaborations too. And also because I like to have fun and be normal in the wild as well. It's like when my dog sees other dogs come up to me and she gets super jelly. Yeah.
Being in the audience actually matters. You know, we see this in an instance like Piker responding to his audience when they had concerns about the rise of anti-woke rhetoric.
It's no longer going to be irrelevant when that's all you talk about in the next 4 years. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. Dude, that was such a good lock, man. That guy is... Damn, what was the date on that when he said that, like, we're going back to Gamergate style politics? Oh my God. Seems like I locked that down on December 22nd, 2020. Wow. Wow. Pre-watch of the future. Once again, pre-watch Piker. At it again, dude. At it again, dude. That's crazy. That's crazy. How does he do it? How did he do it? How did he figure that out, dude? God damn. God damn, dude. I clocked that from a mile away. In the next 4 years. I'm just telling you what's going to happen.
The unique temporal nature of political streaming might then be one of the reasons that it creates such impassioned communities, which is all well and good. But if you're like me, you might still be a little skeptical of the actual political efficacy of any of this, you know, because sure, political streamers draw audiences as large as traditional news outlets, but are they as politically influential? Now, this question feels especially relevant when we know that networks like Fox News and CNN or podcasts like Pod Save America have exhibited the power to influence voters. Here's the thing that makes streaming so interesting on a theoretical level, you know, that the temporality that comes through an experience of duration might actually be the problem. By keeping folks locked into a consumptive trance, it's arguably doing the opposite of facilitating offline political activism. Which raises the question, you know, are we too busy watching political streams to actually participate in politics? Well, maybe not, because recently we have seen more and more streamers step out of their bedrooms and engage in on-the-ground reporting that connects their streaming work to political action, while also offering more immediate and authentic coverage than what we might find on the evening news. And you know, all of this is of course made easier by the relative accessibility and affordability of streaming technology. Now we see this whether it's Hasan Piker visiting a campus protest at UCLA or Destiny visiting Israel. These on-the-ground reactions,
you know, whether it be the anti guy going to an anti-protest or the pro guy going to the country. Yeah, checking my notes. Seems like this guy is pro at the country doing more pro propaganda.
Current political events, you know, highlighted especially in the coverage, ongoing campus protests against Israel's war in Gaza are especially impactful during a time when it really does feel like there's a growing information vacuum. Whether it's, you know, the defunding of newsrooms,
but also that's the other thing is like, what market void are you filling? You know what I mean? It's like, hey guys, there wasn't enough mainstream outlets that were unconditionally defending Israel from Israel. So we got another guy to go and defend Israel from Israel who was also pro-Israel. You know? There was a real shortage in mainstream media for people who would do the brave task of defending Israel. But this time, they also say slurs, okay? Real market void for Jake Tapper not defending the right to say the N-word as a white guy. So now we got Jake Tapper, but he also defends saying the N-word as a white guy. Oh, my Lord. Real untapped market for a liberal who is basically a 4chan vacuum
across America, or the seeming
You're upset he's in the same vid as you? I mean, yeah, for sure. I think that what I do is good, and I think what he does is objectively a stain on mankind. I don't know why this is like an own in your mind. Yeah. Yes, I think like a guy who is a serial mass harasser of anyone who he sicks his rabid fan base on is not a good guy, especially when he's defending a scourge, if you will.
Tameability of fake news. It's all led to an overall decline in the quality of and our trust sources. As Palmer, Toff, and Nielsen argue, when the public view the media as less trustworthy than politicians, it becomes easier for populist figures to lump the news media into a group with political and economic elites and claim for themselves the role of public defender. And for younger folks who have come of age in this era of distrust, streaming seems like a viable alternative for a number of reasons, especially as it continues to enter the real world. Now, one of them is that its unfiltered and instantaneous nature allows viewers to witness events as they unfold in real time, which facilitates trust while also minimizing the potential manipulation we might associate with edited news broadcasts. Another is that when streamers are reporting from the field, they're normally going to center the perspectives of regular people actively participating in the event rather than highly paid experts or pundits typically featured on mainstream news shows. You know, as someone who was personally watching both streams from the UCLA protest earlier this year and then also watching local LA news, I'll simply say that we saw two pretty different perspectives on what was happening.
I think this, alongside with like what Brett did, like all the other content creators that were there, like I think this was I think one of my most consequential things that I've done. You're blinded by your hate of the gnome and are not being truthful. Both of you are misrepresenting each other. Maybe this is by design and I'm a naive viewer. Yes, you're a 24-month subscriber that is a naive viewer. I'm always in awe of how people can maintain this like both sides are the same principle. Yeah. Yes, you are. I am not misrepresenting Destiny's pro-Israel position. He has personally said it himself. You're talking about a dude who has openly, actively mentioned like masturbating to my podcast co-host's AI porn as an own, okay? Who has very publicly put his name out there to be like, yeah, I will do that. And his community that still also repeats those words. I don't think there's any both sides. There's nothing that you can equate in this circumstance that I've done. I care about the issues. I care about, policies. I care about offering context to real-time news coverage. He cares about drama. Anyway, why was this your most consequential stream? Because I think there's no better demonstration of mainstream media openly and actively framing an issue in a nefarious way than basically fucking pointing to what the actual encampments look like from the inside versus how the media covered it. Like, it was such a glaringly obvious piece of original reporting that went against what the media's overarching narrative was about these encampments being like aggressive in nature. I'm still waiting to see what this person is saying. This is the most active defense that you can engage with without coming across as like a pure partisan in this situation. Oh, well, both of you guys do stuff. And it's always funny when they say that, because there was a Discord. There was literally like Discord screenshots of them mentioning me like 90,000 times versus my Discord. We looked at it and the name Destiny was mentioned 9,000 total times. And the overwhelming majority of that was coming from the gaming discussion part of my Discord because they were talking about the video game. So it's almost always like 90-10, but people still maintain this position as though there's like both sides are doing this for the past 6 years at this point. I've rarely ever mentioned this person. He has never stopped mentioning me. Yeah. Oh, here, this is the one. This was the link. It was crazy. Saying that he is better than a terrorist, which is better than a registered sex offender, which is better than a Hasan Piker fan. Just normal, not unhinged statements. The only time he mentioned he didn't want you talking about him was when he was getting destroyed by Finkelstein. Yeah, that was a wonderful moment online. Why can't we chat his name, though? I know you don't care about him enough to ban his name in chat. For obvious reasons, because I don't want mentions of Boner Chelly to be gumming up the works. Okay. Like right now, this is a great example. We've taken a sidestep from this. We stopped the coverage of whatever we were looking at. And now his insane fan base is just going crazy over it. But what did that guy say? I'm pro-Palestine all the way. Actually went away from your stream in 2021 since you were not bringing up Palestine. You're the best on Palestine, and that's what matters the most to me. But both of you are bad faith. Maybe there's way too much bad blood between the two of you. Dude, why is it that whenever I ask for a direct question, these guys never actually bring anything up? You know, it just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. I always ask, I'm like, what do you mean by this? Like, what have I done that is like bad faith? And there's no good answer. It's always just like some weird, vague generalization.
Pro-Palestinian activists in this barricaded encampment refuse.
Can you guys talk one time? You guys are top political live streamers. First of all, come on. It's like Albania saying between us and the United States, we are what comprise of NATO, just like back in the day when Albania was saying between us and China, we comprise of 1 billion. Yeah. You're being a little nice, I think. Is this group cyberstalking? Yes. You know what you've done. Yeah. I'm as pro-Palestine as it gets, which is why you were just as bad as the sponsored by Israel N-word use defending white guy. Hey, man, why don't you talk to the guy who's like objectively who has actively cyberstalked you with his community for the past 6 years, who has taken every opportunity to lie about you to as many people that will listen. Why don't you just like be charitable to that guy who you disagree with on virtually every issue? Just talk to him after he got banned for literally mass harassment over and over again for any person, including myself, but I'm at least like large enough to withstand these kinds of attacks. But like any creator, my size, all the way down to like tiny creators with like 30 concurrent viewers. Come on, bro. Good faith, bro. That's the difference. I want nothing to do with this person. Did you just leak why he got banned? No, there are a million reasons. This is my suspicion. Why don't you just block him? I have. What are you talking about? I have. There is not a moment in my day where I think about this person or his community. It's only when I'm live when his fans come in here with like their 11th sock account, or sometimes dual fans, which is even weirder, that have been around for a very long time, where they come in and they're like, well, both of you guys have done stuff. I have my reasons. I have. Will you condemn Twitch for unbanning Sneeko and not unbanning Boner Chelly? Yeah, I think it's ridiculous that Twitch unbanned Sneeko. I think both Sneeko and Boner Chelly should continue being banned. If it were up to me, I would never unban Sneeko. Or are you insane? Are you out of your mind? Do you think I have a positive association with like Twitch turning around and unbanning some random freaks, dude? Are you crazy? I'd much rather unban iShowSpeed before unbanning someone like Sneeko. And for the record, I am pro rehabilitation. It's just someone needs to be rehabilitated first. Okay? All right.
Using in order to disperse.
Peaceful protest! Peaceful protest! And the efficacy has definitely caught the attention of politicians who want to
Mods got to him before me. The anti-natalist weirdo.
Speak directly to younger voters. At the end of the 2020 election season, Congresswomen Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar jumped on Twitch to organize a Get Out the Vote stream with a variety of popular streamers, politically minded and otherwise. They played the then popular multiplayer game Among Us, and they had over 500,000 people, most of whom were of early voting age, who were there to watch and ask questions about the candidates and policies in a way that felt a lot more authentic and casual than a press conference or even a real town hall.
Imagine showing up to the doctor and just saying you need help and getting it.
More recently at the 2024 DNC, Hasan was on location streaming until he maybe got kicked out. And of course, politicians on the right have also been attempting to use streaming as a way to get out their messages, as in Trump's aforementioned appearance on Aiden Ross's stream, in which Ross, I guess, gifted Trump a Rolex and a Cybertruck. I can't imagine Donald Trump driving a car. Can he drive a car? Is there video of him driving? I've seen him on a golf cart, not a car. If you have video of him driving a car, send it to us. I don't think he can drive a car. And in 2022, GOP rep Matt Gaetz live streamed on Twitch. And hey, if you didn't see it, it did not go super well. While my streaming numbers are not amazing, I consistently dominate Matt Gaetz, which is something. So if the revolution won't be televised, will it at least be streamed? Friends, it's hard to say. But it is worth noting that it's not all good vibes and egalitarian spirit in the world of political streaming. There's a bunch of stuff we didn't include in this video, to be very honest with you, because a lot of the right-wing streaming folks that are popular very much are little Nazis, and we didn't want to put little Nazis in the video. Now, plenty of folks who are out there use their platforms to just reinforce the status quo while cultivating audiences that are more sycophantic than curious. But on a personal level, during my experience streaming here on YouTube, I've really gotten to see how quickly communities of open-minded and empathetic and weird people can form, and then how these communities can be used to facilitate spaces of critical thinking about what's going on in the world. Special shout out to all the Wisecrack Live heads out there. I really like you all very much. Thanks for hanging out with me every week. I also do want to give a shout out to Garrett Kruper. Now, he helped us with this video, and he recently finished a whole PhD project on political streaming. He shared some of that research with us. He helped out with this. And if you want to learn more about Garrett and his work, tune in to our stream on Wednesday, and we're going to have him on to talk about his project and more about streaming. And in general, if you've ever wanted to check out one of our streams, we stream every Monday and every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific right here.
Oh my God, bro. Y'all are so desperate for any crumb of interaction. Please stop. Jesus Christ.
On YouTube. I would love to see you there. In the meantime, let us know what you think, and especially let us know if there's political streamers that you like a lot, especially if they're maybe less well known. It would be great to give those people some shine. But most important,
coming out of the gutter, dude, the moment that like even this is like briefly mentioned, his weirdo fan base and like adjacent orbiters immediately, they're like, it's just like that one guy that came up to me at TwitchCon, bro. He's like, come on, why don't you debate Destiny? It's like, bro, why do you even remotely think this would be productive in any capacity? Jesus Christ. I thought by this point we might have banned every single person, and I'm constantly in awe that there are still always new sock accounts. Like, it is wild, especially because like I don't think there's another community that is this resilient with the limited amount of size that they have, but like the amount of impact that they have that is so outsized because they're just constantly, permanently online. Holy. One of your security guards loved that you on that kid, by the way. It's just like, dedicate your life to anything else. Please, man. Please. I promise you, you will be much happier. I promise. And it's like my idiotic community members too. Can you comment on this asshole saying you're endorsing raping women is actually so gross? No, dude, because that is an insane thing. And you bringing that up literally is just giving it legitimacy. How do you not understand that? Why would I ever in a million years respond to something so obviously out of context? Are you actually brain dead? It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, sometimes I can't tell if like this is a person who thinks they're doing the right thing. Yeah. That tweet had 6K likes before Hasan put it on screen. Now it has 19K likes. You're all drama addicted idiots. Oh, 100%. I genuinely want to get it. I genuinely want to dive into the minds of people like this that are just like, no, dude, I don't understand. Like, the reason why I have so many active haters is because I already gave them a crumb by consistently, repeatedly trying to answer misinformation about me. Okay. People would make it up and I'd be like, oh, wait, hold on. That's completely made up. Let me actually explain the truth to you. And over the course of like 5-6 years, I came to the conclusion that, oh, nobody actually gives a about the truth. When I turn around and address it, it just gives it more breathing room. It gives it more legitimacy. And it is a signal for all the people that are waiting in the sidelines to be like, yeah, this guy. That's it. It's all bad faith here.
Say, for the sake of argument, you're the kind of progressive lefty with a platform who gets a share of harassment, seasonal